Kind of bored. I don't know what to do. Wait, what? Yeah. Could I? Whoa, you're right. I could play a game about birds. You want to fly? Okay, let's do it. Good game night, everyone. Tonight I've pulled out Snowbirds. This is a print and play by Brian Garthwaite from 2017. Snowbirds is a solitaire card and dice game in which you guide a flock of snow geese along their annual migration south. The flock must manage their limited resources to travel, forage for food, and fight the exhaustion of an arduous journey. Can you lead them there safely? Or at least some of them? What do you think? Can we do it? Good. I'm glad you agree. But I think you're a snowy owl. Are you a snow geese? No. No, so you gotta go. Sorry. So, very simple setup in front of me. I've got some maps, I've got some action cards, and I've got a little card reminding me of some items such as exhaustion, flock size. I start with 5 birds, and I got to get at least one of them home to the end, and hunger. And I'm starting up here in the north, and you'll see I got a nice little bird token here. They don't come with the game, but I had these for my Wingspan game, so I'm going to use these little birdies here. And you can see a simple little card to remind us what we're doing. So we draw new cards each turn, then we have the choice of resting, then foraging. I shouldn't say choice. We draw new cards, then we can rest. That is a choice. We can forage, we have to fly, and then we have to roll the dice for vigor to see if the risk is too high. And then we can play tenacity if the risk got to us. And then we move our token to the next location and increase hunger. And scoring is quite simple at the end of the game. We just see, well, what is the flight value of all of our unspent cards? What is the final flock size? And then you subtract off 2 times any exhaustion that you have. So exhaustion over here. And subtract off any final hunger, so the hunger category here. And then the number of face down rest cards played, you also subtract that. So that's what we're looking to do. And we're going to take these journeys. We have these maps that I'm going to flip over, and we're going to journey from the north and head to the south. There are 10 cards here that we are going to be going through. So let me draw my hand, get my action cards, get 5 of them at all times. All right, here we go. And you'll see that there are a couple of different options on each. I have flight, so that's how many flight points I have. If I flip to the other side, is forage. This is how much food I can get. And if I flip it to the middle, this is telling me what my tenacity is going to be. In this case, it is a reroll. In other cases, it may be a particular number, such as a 6 or a 4. But we'll take a look at that as we go. So let's start flying. We're going to take our first journey. I'm going to flip over the Dry Valley. Okay, so you'll notice here, distance of 4 plus 2, so there's a total distance of 6 that I have to go. So my flight cards, let me flip this one around, I have to get up to 6. Then there's a 3 plus a 3 for my risk, so I have to roll better with these 2d6 than a 6. A 6 or better, and then I won't have to take care of any trouble with risk. And then when I fly to the next spot, I have 2 plus 1, I have a total of 3 hunger. Now, when I'm in the Dry Valley, once I arrive, then there's going to be limited food there, so a maximum forage of 2. So usually you want to stock up on food before you have to go to one of those, but I'm not hungry. I start with 0 hunger. So while the order is that you do rest, forage, and then flight, you're really thinking about everything simultaneously. So I know I definitely want to add things together to be at 6 for distance. So taking a look at this, everything else is going to add 2 high. Well, no, I lie. So I could do a 4 plus a 2, that would get me 6. Or I could just use a 6 overall. I think at this point, it doesn't really too much matter which of these I do. So maybe I'll just use my flight of 6. So I don't need the rest. I don't need the forage. So neither of those two I'm going to worry about. So I'll play my flight 6 card, and I'll be able to get there. All right, now the next piece I have to do is, now that I've covered the distance, then I need to take care of the risk. So the risk total is 6. And I want to hope for a good roll here. Shouldn't be too hard to be. Yeah, got that, no problem. I don't think there's any risk that high. So I managed the risk, and now I can fly. So I'll move on into the dry valley, and my hunger goes up by 3. And now I draw my hand up to the full 5 cards, and I flip up the next map, the next part of the journey. Heading off to the parched sands. Oh boy, limited food again. So that's it. That's a turn, and I'm just going to do 10 of those total, and that'll be the game. And hopefully I'll have a couple of birds there alive at the end. Okay, so now this time I need to do a distance of 7 and risk of 9. So this is a bit riskier, going to the parched sands now from the dry valley. So these are those two kind of go together. So this has been a tough start to this journey south. So at most I can get 2 food here, which is not super ideal, and then at most I can get is 2 next time. Fortunately, my hunger doesn't go up much. Okay, so this is only going to be hunger 1 plus 0, so it's only going to go up by 1, so that's not too bad. Okay, so at best I can do is forage 2. I could choose to just forage 1 if I wanted to. I don't know if that makes any sense, or if I would like to forage a full 2 here. Well, let's think of that. So this is a lot of card management. So by the end of the game, it's very easy to use this full deck of cards. So that is we need to make sure we can fly to all 10 locations with this deck of cards. But we want to have as many of those left over as possible, because this final value of all unspent cards, that's going to be a big part of this score at the end. I've played this a few times, and I've gotten all my birds to the end, and I've had negative points because I didn't have any of those cards left. I just made it right at the end of this deck. So I know I'm going to want to try to make sure I have cards left. So that's kind of the management I need to do. But let's say I want to forage. So I'm going to forage 2, the most I can do. So that's going to knock my hunger back to 1. But now there's a modifier. Note, so since I can't do any better than this, I'm still a little bit hungry. So there's a distance modifier of +1. So now my distance is not just 7, it's going to be 8. So I need to keep that in mind. Well, actually, that doesn't really matter. I mean, I guess I had a 3 there that I could have added to a 4 to get my 7 before. But now it looks like it's going to be using a pair of 4s to get an 8. All right, so use the 4s, take care of that. So I make the flight, and now I've got to try to beat a 9. 9 or better. 6, 7, 8. Oh, just shy. Okay. So I have 2 choices here. Well, 3 choices. 1, I can just ignore this, and I can let my exhaustion go up by 1. And then next turn, if I want to get rid of that exhaustion, I can flip one of my cards down. But to take care of that exhaustion and flip a card down, I lose a point for any card I flip down here. So I don't really want to do that if I can help it. I'm using a card either way. Either way, I'm going to use a card to do something. So one thing I could do is I could replace one of the die, in this case the 2, with a 5. And that would get me 11, and I would definitely beat that 9. The other thing I can do is I could re-roll. So I know I just need to get 3 or better here. And the re-roll is, so I would get to save this flight 5. That's a nice card. Flight 5 and forage 3. I don't mind dumping a 2-1 here, but it's a little bit risky. I got a 2 out of 3 shot of getting it. Should I go for it? Should I go for the risk? Do the re-roll? Let's try it. Whew. Okay, I didn't want to make a bad choice on that one early on. Any extra card you have to play that you don't really want to play is not great. So, all right. Fortunately, though, I got past the risk without taking any extra exhaustion, and I fly on to the parched sands. All right, and hunger goes up by 1. And we've gone through 2 locations, continuing the journey to the wide open prairie. Down a little bit. Okay, this is, it's going to be a distance of 9, a risk of 9, and a hunger up 3. So this wide open space is a tough space to go into. What are you doing back here again? You like the prairies, don't you? Yeah, well, kind of cornfields for the snowy owls. You know, hang out in the cornfields in the winter, in the snow. Yeah, okay, but no, this game isn't about you right now. I'm sorry. I mean, thank you for asking me to play it, but no. Let's get some more cards into my hand. I'll draw back up to 5. Okay, so I need a 9. So I think 5 and 4 really is my only meaningful option here. Oh, but I want to get my hunger down because otherwise I have this modifier here. So I definitely want to eat. So let's say I designate a 5 and a 4 for the flight. And then, well, again, I can only forage 2, but at least that's going to get me down to 0 this time. Whew. Okay. So I really don't have a choice. I only have 1 forage 2, so it's going to be that one. So let's do it. Forage 2. Get my hunger down to 0. Then I'm going to play the 4 and the 5. 4 and 5. That'll get me my flight of 9. All right. And now, let's see if I can beat this risk of 9. It's good to get good rolls here. Ah, not a good roll. Bah. You really want to get good rolls there, because if you have to keep burning cards to deal with this risk, that's going to make sure you go through your pile. Every card I burn is going to be, I think I shouldn't have had it that way. Every card I burn is going to be one that I don't get the flight value for at the end of the game. So really, your final score is very dependent on some lucky rolls here. So you're trying to manage your hands well, but it's going to come down to luck with these rolls. So anyway, I need a 9. I guess I'll keep the 5. And so I'm going to be using this one to replace the 2, the 1. So that'll get me 10, and I've made it without having to take any exhaustion. All right, here we go. We fly onwards. Hunger goes up 3. So let's say I did start taking exhaustion. Let's say I took 1, and then I took another one, and then I took 1 more. So if I had to take a 3rd exhaustion, well, I can't. So that would stay at 2, and I would lose one of my flock. Now, I don't really have to get to the end of this game with all my birds. If I lose a few of those, but I'm able to keep some of the cards in my hand in the process, then I only lose 1 for each bird I lose. But I can gain 2s and 3s and 4s from keeping cards. So that's something to keep in mind. A glacial lake. Okay. Looks like this is going to go a little bit nicer. So we're going to draw up my hand to 5 again. Keep all my flights face up. I could order these, but I'm not going to bother. All right, so I need a distance of 7. The only way I can add up perfectly to 7 is with the 5 and the 2, which I want to do. I want to always add these up perfectly. I don't want to overspend. I mean, I could spend a 6 and a 5 and pay 11 to go a distance of 7, but then I'm just wasting some high values, so that's not good. So I'll pin that on there, and I can deal with hunger of 3. That's only 2, and I don't want to pay extra flight, so I'm going to do a forage 4, which I can do because not only can I eat the 3, but I can go to -1. I can basically stuff myself. So my birdies are nice and full. And we're moving on. So 5 and a 7, 5 and a 2 gets me my 7. So I do my flight. And now a risk of 8. Another high risk. I like that first one. That's 6. Maybe I can get lucky this time. That is terrible. So this is a case where I'm going to want to flip a card down because I would have to replace both of these dice. No, I lie. I guess if I use the 6 here, 6 plus 2 would get me an 8. Do I use that? All right, so here are my choices. I can use this to replace the 1, and that'll get it there. Or I could just take the exhaustion and then flip this one down next time. So I lose this card instead, and I lose a point, but I keep my 6. I think overall I'm in better shape keeping the 6. So I'm going to take the exhaustion. So exhaustion goes up 1. And make the flight. Hunger goes up 2. That's not too much this time. All right, and then draw my hand back up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're getting close. I'm almost halfway there. All right. Where are we going next? Going from the fine glacial lake to the forest glade. Oh, some nice things are going to be waiting for me in the forest glade. Plentiful food, a +1 forage bonus. So I almost don't want to eat much because I know I can get an extra one next time. So I could, but I don't want, well, let's see. So a distance of 7, and I can definitely add up to 7 with this. So it'll get me a 7. I can take care of, well, then this would take care of hunger 2, so that would take me to -1. And I know I'm going to gain 2 more. Boop, boop, and that would go back there. But I know I get that forage bonus. So maybe, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. Maybe I stay hungry for the moment and I gorge myself next time. So let's say I do 5. So I need the +1 on my flight now. So I would need an 8. And I just won't eat at all right now. Yeah, let's try that. Oh, what was I going to do? I've got to flip one. Yes, that's right. This is definitely the one I want to flip. And to face that one down, I'll put it this way to remind myself that I flipped that one down. All right, got to get the exhaustion down. Otherwise, the risk also goes up. The risk would go up by 1. Don't really need that. Not right now. Okay, so deal with that. Not going to eat. But +1 on the distance, so the 7th becomes an 8. I take care of the 8. And there we go. Risk is 7. I could really use a lucky roll for a change. Come on, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Got myself a nice 11. So we make the flight. Ba, 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 ba. We're there. Hunger goes up 2. Okay. Draw the hand back up. The 5. All right, well, that gives you a pretty good sense of how this game is played. It's just going to keep playing out through 5 more rounds, and that'll be it. So we'll call it for this video then. If you want to keep watching, though, I'll put up the conclusion of the game in the next video. Yes, would you like to say goodbye? I thought you would. Okay, bye-bye.